My name is Chiwendo. I am a recovering alcoholic with food. Um, I just let's get centered with the set aside prayer. Uh, God, please help me set aside everything I think I know about myself, about others, about my program, about my recovery, about these 12 steps, so that I can have an open mind and a new experience with all these things. Please help me see the truth. Um, all right. So to qualify, are my whoever I sent my pictures to, Joyce, I believe. Could you put those up real quick so I can explain those? To qualify, I came in March of 2006. I had a top weight of over 600 pounds. This picture here is a picture of me from about 2.5 years ago. This is February of 2023. I'm over 500 pounds in this photo. And you can move to the next one. This is a photo of me today. I am 320 pounds. So I've lost, in the last 2 years, I've lost almost 200 pounds. And then in Overeaters Anonymous total, I've lost almost 300 pounds. And I'm still today working towards maintaining a healthy body weight. So that part's done. What was it like before? To be honest, I can't really tell you what it was like before. Honestly, I can't give you an honest description other than I ate a lot. You know, I was 600 pounds. So I imagine when I think back about it, when I had a feeling, I ate. You know, I don't know how else you get to 600 pounds. My food was definitely my higher power when I look back, but I didn't know that at the time. I just thought I liked to eat. Um, and you know, I like the ease and comfort that came with a few bites. I never could understand why I didn't care anything for drugs or alcohol or even to try them, you know. I didn't know that I had already found my drug and my alcohol. Um, and because I came from an alcoholic, my mother was an alcoholic in recovery since I've been 5 years old. And she really stressed the importance of never drinking, you know. And I had a sister who was 10 years older and she was a dope head and she was always on dope until, you know, but she was also a food addict. I mean, she was 10 years older than me running the streets and she could never get clean. And her life looked like a wreck. Right. So I was like, well, I don't want to be like that. So I at some point I started to look down at a very early age at people who use drugs and alcohol. I thought of them as less than. It was one of the very first lies. Um, that I was somehow better because I did not do what they did. I mean, meanwhile, I killed myself with food on a daily basis. And so what happened is um, when I was 26 years old, the words Overeaters Anonymous came into my head, and I went to Yahoo. I looked it up, and I went. And you know, Yahoo tells that story. That's a long time, right? And I came in and I was over 600 pounds and you know, that welcome home stuff was real for me. I was loved and cared for in a way that I had never, ever experienced. And so I just kept coming back. Right. And everything that I was told was like, well, you know, find someone that has what you want. Um, and I mean, everybody had what I wanted because every single person was not as fat as me. And I heard 3 meals a day and I did service and that's what I did. I didn't have a sponsor. I mean, I had sponsors like technically, but not really, not people I took direction from. It was started to work immediately. 3 meals a day, nothing in between. And we're not even talking about looking at anything that's alcoholic or triggering or red light, whatever you want to call it. I dropped weight, dropped almost 200 pounds in under 2 years. So I thought I had my fix. I thought I had my cure. And on January 15th, 2008, I had gotten through the high holy days of, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving. And I was doing my monthly weigh-in. I was down again. I had stayed down. I had continued to go down. I weighed once a month, and I went and celebrated with donuts. And whatever I was doing that day, stopped working. And so I spent the next 15 years in the rooms, um, with my research jacket on. And the name of the company that I was working for was Fuck Around and Find Out. And that's what I did for 15 years in these rooms. I tried it my way. I tried to eat. I tried to not listen to anyone. I wouldn't even, the idea of even taking direction was not upon me. Um, there were inklings, right, in those 15 years that my way wasn't working. But trust somebody else? Nah. And how many times did I hear in our invitation to you, you know, that I'll never make it. I won't make it, or however that part is in our invitation to you. Um, and I didn't realize that I never would make it. That there's no that there's the at a very early space, there's the I in this program is dead, right? And I tried to make this program work on my terms, right? Because I wanted abstinence, but I didn't want to do what anybody who had my disease was. I told myself a lie that my disease was worse than other people's because I was bigger than them, so they couldn't understand me, or they wouldn't understand me, or some broad who has 20 pounds to lose doesn't understand what it's like for me to have hundreds of pounds to lose. And so I kept myself um, isolated from Overeaters Anonymous while in Overeaters Anonymous. And what happened in February of 2023 is I kind of had a come to Jesus moment. I couldn't get up my steps. And in not being able to get up my steps, I heard the voice of my higher power, and my higher power, really asked me a series of questions. And one of those questions was, how many fat old black men do you see? And I was like, none, right? Because they all die before they get old. And in that moment, I heard my higher power say, well, then I'm just going to call you home. So I'm sitting in a Sam's Club parking lot somewhere between Toronto and Omaha, Nebraska, and I should be dead. But after I had that little conversation with my higher power, I went to my sponsor, who I had at the time, and I told her, I will do anything you tell me to do, because I really thought I was going to die. And she said, go find a male sponsor. And of course, I was restless, irritable, and discontent about that, because I had just humbled myself. The great Chinwendu had just humbled himself to say he would do anything. And you pretty much just poo-pooed me, just pushed me aside. But I did take that direction, and I went online and I found somebody. And I listened to them. And for the first time, I listened to somebody without caring about how I felt about it, because I felt like I was going to die. And if you're struggling today, right, that would be my number one recommendation for you, is to find someone. They don't have to even have what you want. They just need to be abstinent. Because if I can't get a day, what do I know about somebody having what I want? What I wanted didn't work. I found somebody who was abstinent, and I was willing to do anything he told me to do. Because otherwise, I was going to die. And what happened was, for the first time ever, I got a day. About 4 or 5 days after working with him, I told him one of the little baby lies, right? One of the little white lies. One of the little white lies that I hold to myself. Because he asked me to send my pictures of my food, and and we made a food plan. But after 4 days, I revealed the one lie. I revealed a lie in how I prepared my food, and I revealed it. I revealed it on a day where I revealed it on March 11th, 2023, and that was the beginning of my abstinence. It was the first time I got all the way honest about the food, as honest as I had ever been. And if you'd asked me today, honesty has just been is just a journey that just continues to grow. But on that day, I got a day, and I remember on day 5, I was at a meeting, and I was giving gratitude for this group of men in a meeting, and I felt like something had finally changed on the 5th day. I wasn't necessarily happy about what had happened, but I was abstinent, right? Like, without any lies. And I had never had that in 17 years. Because I like sugar, flour, and fat in combination. In my first 17 years, I just tried it myself, and it was just a terrible, terrible experience. Because the thing is I'd have these periods where I felt like I was doing well. And I would tell people that, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing well. Right? But then when life would happen and I would eat, then I don't tell anyone. And so what happened in the last 31 months is I've been inviting people into my life. I've been inviting my sponsor into my life more intimately, one day at a time. I've been calling people. Don't care if they call me back. Don't care if they like me. It's not my job to care about that. My sponsor said call 2 people a day, and he said I have to call them. So I did it. I made the decision to go to a meeting a day because I was the kind of sick, compulsive overeater that needed to touch down early, and Zoom provided that. I could go to a meeting at 6 a.m. every day, could get my meeting in, could get my phone calls in, did my step work, and all of a sudden life got different. For some reason, the food wasn't hard. Now, life got real hard, right? Because for the first time, I don't know what the delirium tremens is like for alcoholic with food, but I'm pretty sure I experienced that, right? Because I had a period of about 3 or 4 months from July of 2023 until October where I just felt like my whole spirit was on fire. But here's the thing is I didn't eat. For me to eat is to die today. It killed me. It was killing me actively for the whole time, but I refused to believe that for me to eat was to die. I was like, no, I'll fix it later. Maybe I will have the surgery, right? Maybe I will have the surgery. I told myself that. I told myself when I was 42, I was going to go have the surgery. I went to the doctor and she said, you can do it. And for some reason, I believed her. I don't know why I believed her, but I did. And so what happened is I continued to work the steps. I continued to work the steps with my sponsor. I got through the steps. I started sponsoring people. But no matter what happened, right? Up, down, left, right, I don't eat outside of my food plan. People know what's going into my mouth. 31 months in, I went to a retreat, Arlington Sunrisers is a group that meets, a Zoom meeting that meets every morning at 6 a.m. Central. And they had their retreat in Toronto, Ontario. That's where I was earlier today. and I'm driving home. Who drives from Omaha to Toronto? Somebody who should be dead otherwise. What else? What better thing do I have to do than to go and be of love and service to my OA fellows and to join in with my family? Right? Like, this thing saved my life. I owe Overeaters Anonymous everything, right? I had someone, when I finally got abstinent about 3 months in, someone from my local meeting, my local in-person meeting, she said to me, "I can't believe you stayed." And she's right. Who stays somewhere for 17 years, right? Who stays somewhere for 17 years? I mean, I'm the kind of person that walked around the store of Overeaters Anonymous for 17 years and just window shopped. I just walked up and down the aisles. Ooh, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Meanwhile, I'm getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. And the fat is between my ears because my body changed. My weight went up and down. I was over 600. So of course, when I was down to 430, 440, of course I thought I was doing okay. Gosh, I was 600 before. I didn't know that craziness in my head could be quieted. That voice in my head that does not relent about food could be extinguished. That voice is extinguished. 31 months ago, I would have had no opportunity to get from Omaha to Toronto in a car, because at every single freaking gas station I stopped at, I would have gotten wasted. I would have obliterated myself. I've been going to a men's retreat for 8 years in Pittsburgh. And for every time I went for the first 5 years, I would go a day early and I would binge my brains out, because you can't binge around a bunch of compulsive eaters at a retreat. The thing is I know I wanted it, but knowing didn't matter. Only the doing matters. Getting into action matters. Helping people via sponsorship matters. Doing service matters. Committing my food matters. And I don't want it to take time. I don't want to do this. I never wanted to do this. And somehow God changed my wanting to do something or having to do something into getting to do things. I get to do this today. I get to be on this meeting. I get to wander around in Michigan and looking for enough light so that I'm not in the pitch black in my car, right? So that I can be fully present in this space. This is all a get to. It's a huge get to. I get to be 320 pounds today. I get to experience more recovery with my Sunrisers group today. I get to love people and they get to love me back, and I can receive that without any shame, guilt, or the misery of compulsive eating. But it all began with not doing what I wanted. I don't know anyone that came in these rooms on a winning streak. So if you're struggling, you can look for someone that has what you want and do what they do. But I really believe just find anyone that's abstinent and shut your face and ask for directions. Because anyone who's abstinent and committed to this program has something that you don't have. And I spent way too much time in judgment of all the other people in the rooms. And that has to be eradicated. I love all of you. That's my time. Grateful to be here today.